So this week, what we're going to be talking about are basically new features that we've implemented into Compass over the last month and a half, and these have gone into production. There's been several features that have been put into production, and you may know of some of them, you might not know of all of them. So we just wanted to take this week to kind of point out some of the bigger ones and highlight those for you so you're well aware of those. So what we're going to do very first is I'm obviously going to share my screen, and we're going to jump right into Compass. Now, the first two items that we've introduced over the last month basically had to do with a little bit of the admin side of it. So if you're an admin dealer, this will affect you. If you're not an admin dealer, then maybe this will be enough to get you to want to become an admin dealer. But one of the things we've done is right off the bat, you're going to see here, we have enabled a feature that allows you to basically turn on a user to be mobile use only. So if you've got technicians out there, and I've got a lot of dealers that don't want to give their technicians access to Compass because rightfully so, they're afraid they might go home at night, in off business hours and jump down on the computer and print out all their databases and then decide they can do this better than you can, and then go off on their own, and now they've got a whole sheet of accounts that they can go after. And that's a good point. So a lot of dealers were afraid of giving their technicians that kind of access. So what we've done is we've added a feature that allows you to turn on a mobile use only for that user. Now, if you're an admin dealer, when you go to the Manage Users tab, you're going to see underneath the actions, you'll see this little icon that looks like a little cell phone. And if I want to turn Anita Mann on so that she's only going to have access to mobile, I can simply click that icon, and now it's going to enable her to be only mobile use. Okay, so she cannot access Compass via a desktop or a tablet at this time. It has to be a mobile phone. So the benefit to that is what? Well, you can't run reports from the Compass mobile, so it's going to cut down on what she can do. If she wants to steal my accounts at that point or data, she's going to have to do a print screen of every single page and then sit there and run it that way. And I don't think a lot of people are going to want to do that. So it's just a little bit safer to do that. So I can do that one at a time, like I just did. I can also do it more than one. I can do it in bulk. If I want to do it from the edit page, and again, this is for the admin dealers, you simply click the pencil, and under the web access, you're going to see a new feature there. It says access from mobile devices only. Right now it's checked because I just turned her on to mobile use only. If I want to change that, I can uncheck it, hit save, and when it comes back to the Manage Users tab, you'll see that it's back to being green. Now she can access it from a desktop or a tablet or a mobile phone. So that's a real nice feature. And when I say the admin, it's admin dealers can see this, but this isn't restricted to admin dealers only. So if you're not an admin dealer in Compass and you've got some people that you want to be able to access Compass only via mobile phone, all you need to do is contact your BDSR or dealer support and let us know which users you want to enable to be mobile use only, and we can do that from our side for you. It's just easier if you're an admin dealer. You can see it easier. You can see who's got mobile use only, and then you can do that yourself. But it's not restricted to only admin dealers. You can still contact us, and we'll take care of that for you. So that's the first thing I want to point out, the mobile use only. Haven't talked a whole lot about that, but we had a few dealers, like I say, that we are hoping that this is going to help them out because they're going to be able to give their technicians access to Compass now, and they're going to be able to use the quick on and off test, check history that way, and they can rest assured that they're not stealing any kind of data information from them because they can do mobile use only now instead of getting on a desktop or a tablet. Now, the next new feature that I'm going to show you is for admin dealers only, and maybe this will be the impetus to get you to become an admin dealer if you're not. We had a lot of requests to add a place that if a person canceled an account, they wanted to be able to put in a reason. So some of our dealers, we never had that before. We didn't have it in CMS Connect or even the predecessor to that, and we don't have it in Mastermind either. So what a lot of our dealers were using were the custom value fields on the location page. and just telling their people, hey, when you cancel an account in custom value 1, put in why you canceled the account, and then we can track it from there. So the request came in, is there a better way to do that? And this past update that we did, we were able to implement that into production. And again, this is for an admin dealer only, but from the administration link, you can go to the default settings. It's the final tab on the admin. And you'll see 2 tabs over here. You'll see personal settings, and then you'll see administration group settings. And so you'll click administration group settings, and then you're going to see this right here with the blue arrow next to it that says CS cancellation. So when I open that up, it's going to show me if I want to show it or hide, and it's going to show me my different cancellation reasons. Now, your cancellation reasons are built by you or whoever your admin is in your office. So you can see here I've got cannot afford payments, customer moved out of area, didn't like the technician, switched for a lower price, unhappy with service. And if I want to add something else, let's just say we'll add a new one. That one probably comes up all the time, right? So we got currently out of the country. We'll add that one. And so that's in there. So this is the way you're going to do it. So if you're an admin dealer and you want to use this CS cancellation, you'll click the edit, and then you're just going to type in all the different reasons that you want to appear for the person to select from, because this is going to be a drop down for them. They're not going to type it in. And the nice thing about this is you're getting rid of the free form. So if you're using location value 1, location value 2, whatever right now, that's a free form field. So people make mistakes typing all the time, or if you got 2 or 3 people that are canceling accounts in your office, one person might type it one way, another person types it a different way. It's a little harder to track. Now you've got an admin person or yourself that can go in there and create those reasons, and then it becomes a pick list for the person when they go. So it's a lot more consistent and going to be easier to run reports off of. So again, as you can see, I've added 6 of them in here. I can go ahead and close this. Now, I added the 6th one here, but I haven't added it to my list. So now I'm going to go ahead and select it. So all 6 of my reasons have now been selected. They all show up. Maybe I find out that, yeah, it's not technician. We don't want that. We don't want that one showing up because that just never gets used. So we can go ahead and cancel that one, and it won't show up in the pick list anymore. Okay? So then once I've done that, I've got my cancellation reasons all built. There's my 5, and I've got it to show. Now we hit Save Changes. Now the nice thing about this is now that I've got this set up, when my users, people in the office, technicians, whatever, when they go to cancel an account, they're going to have to select that reason. Okay, so then we can start tracking why we're deleting accounts. So we're going to pull up an account here, the Hertz Donut and Coffee Shop, and from this account section, we're going to go ahead and cancel that account. So deactivate it. Right there, before we can do anything else, I've got my cancellation reason box. And as I said, it's a drop down. So they have to select whatever my admin or myself have chosen to be the selections for the reasons or cancellation reasons. So let's say they switch for a lower price. We deactivate it. Now it's deactivated, and now it's logged. Okay. Now we're going to be adding that column for the reason, for cancellation reason, to the dashboard. So you're going to be able to track that. We're going to be able to run reports and stuff like that off there. So you're going to be able to see the reason why people are canceling on a more consistent basis than if you're just using the location value fields. Okay, so we're really excited about that. The dealers that request it have already started using it. They love it. So again, it's an admin dealer function only, because an admin person in your office has to go in and add those reasons. And we can't do that from the CMS side. So dealer support can't do it for you. I can't do it for you. It has to be an admin dealer from your admin login. But if you need help with that, you're not an admin dealer, but you want to become an admin dealer just for that purpose, and you need a little bit extra training on that, we can definitely help you with that, okay? So that's the second thing we wanted to talk about, was the cancellation reason. Now, third thing we want to talk about today has to do with My Alarms. And I'm going to jump right over here to My Alarms real quickly. So many people already know this, that we activated a new feature back in June, but we really haven't talked a whole lot about it yet. And that's basically what we call a self-registration for My Alarms users. we had a lot of feedback from dealers that they want their customers to have access to My Alarms, but they're having trouble getting in contact with all their customers and getting an email address and getting a valid username. And, just a lot of steps in process to get that information from the customer and then get it over to us so we can get them set up. So by doing a self-registration, what we've done is we kind of bypass that for you. Okay, so from the My Alarms login, so a little bit of legwork you'll have to do with your customers in the sense that, they'll have to know what the web address is, obviously, myalarms.com. No one's going to find that on accident. So you'll have to give them that. And once they get there, they're going to need two more pieces of information. One, hopefully they already know. Two, you might have to give them. So what they're going to see from the My Alarms page, forgot your username, forgot your password, right below there is create new user. So all they have to do is click that link to create a new user, and that's going to pull up step 1 of 2. So this is the part that you may have to feed them information. I don't know how many customers know what their CS number is, but the CS number is a required field to get this started. That's the only way that we can kind of verify who we're working with at that point. So in this case here, we're going to use an account number. I know it. Now they have to know a valid passcode. What I was saying earlier was hopefully they already know this. If they're verifying a false alarm or anything like that when they call CMS, then they know what their passcode is. So this can be a valid code word on the account, or it can be a valid passcode for a contact as long as that contact has full access. So if it's like a no data changes passcode, then it will not work. It has to be a full access one. So in this case here, we're going to go ahead and type in the site code word. You'll notice that right now the passcode is viewable. In our next update, that's going to become encrypted, just like it does with all the other passwords on the internet. Basically, it's going to be encrypted as a type, and then there's going to be the little eye icon out to the right where they can click on that to verify that they input the correct passcode or they didn't misspell or anything like that. So right now it is not encrypted, as you can see, but it will be encrypted on our next update. So once they do that, they click next, and now it takes them to step 2 of 2. The very first one is username. So they're just going to enter a username, okay? And the system will tell them if that username is available, which is actually really cool because it doesn't even do that for us. When we're creating new users for dealers, we don't get that access, or we don't find out that it's not available until we hit save, and then we have to go from our next stop there. So if I did, it's going to tell me right there, username is not available. That already exists in My Alarms or Compass. So it's got to you've got to use a unique username right off the bat. So we'll do JDog, it's there. Now they're going to put their first name in, their last name. You'll see the asterisks right there. So the first name is not it's not required, but last name, email address, and confirm email are definitely, required. So they've got to make sure they put that information in there. But they're going to put their first name, last name, and then they're going to put their email address twice. Once they've done that, they'll hit create, and then it becomes just like normal, right? So it's going to send 2 emails to whatever email address they select in here or they put in here. And it's going to be those same 2 emails that everybody gets when you get your login for the first time. It's going to come from noreply@myalarms.com. And the first one's going to be an email verification. They'll open that email up. There'll be a link in there that says click here to verify your credentials. You'll click there. It'll take them to the login page. That's boom. They verified their email address. The second email that's going to come from noreply@myalarms.com is going to give them their username, which hopefully they already know because they entered it and created it themselves. But it's also going to give them a temporary password. And that temporary password they'll use that very first time to log in. Once they've done that, the system will then force them to update their password to whatever they want. Okay, so just exactly the same. So once they've done steps 1 and 2, it becomes just like normal, just like we've created the user for you, or if you're an admin dealer, you've done it for the customer themselves. So that's a couple steps. Now, since this is self-registration, what we've done to kind of protect everybody is they get view-only privileges. So they cannot make any data changes whatsoever if they do the self-registration. Okay? If you want them to be able to make updates to their contacts or something like that, we can update their permission role afterwards. and they may log in and say, hey, I can't change my contact list. And at that point, that's you're going to be your key to go ahead and get them updated. And we can change their permission roles at any time. But we've got a lot of dealers that don't want their customers making data changes, so we decided to go ahead and do view only across the board. So if they use the self-registration, it is view only. There are no changes whatsoever, okay? And as far as being able to place their own account on test in My Alarms, it is maxed out at 8 hours, okay? So they can do it for less than 8 hours if they want, but the maximum amount of time they can place the account on test is 8 hours. Okay. Now, if something comes up and you want to be 24 hours, then again we can update the test category for you at any time. Or again, if you're a dealer, an admin dealer, you can do that as well. So once it's created, we can do edits all day long. Sometimes you might say, nope, I don't want them to be able to place the account on test. So you can take that test category away from them, and then they won't be able to place the account on test. It would be basically view only and nothing else available to them. Okay, so we're hoping that this, and again, we haven't talked a whole lot about it. We haven't rolled it out as far as marketing and stuff like that. We have had a few people talk about it, but we're hoping that this is going to kind of get people to do My Alarms and again, do the self-registration. All you have to do now is just give them the web address and make sure they know their account number, and obviously make sure they know their passcode, which again, I hope they already do. So we're hoping that's going to kind of get people starting to use myalarms.com. And maybe, if you get to the point where it might help you out as well. I don't know how many people get calls from customers all day, every day to update a contact list or to remove person here or add a person here or just change the order of the call list. You can give them permission to do that, and they can do that themselves in My Alarms, and just makes everything a lot easier. And all those changes show up in the archive table, so everything is archived, so there's never a question of who changed my contact list. You'll be able to look at the archive table and say, well, it was you actually, and you did it on this date and this time. This is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so that's the third update we wanted to talk about, was the My Alarm self-registration. Now, the last one was the biggie, and this one just rolled out July 14th, and we're really, really pleased with this one so far. I can't really do a full live demo with this because it would be dropping to a CMS monitoring rep, and we don't want to take any of their time away. So I've done some screenshots to kind of show you what we've done. And basically what we've done is we've updated the SMS and the email auto notifications to include action buttons. Okay, so now not only is it going to just inform them what happened, it's not just a notification anymore, but on certain signals, your customers are going to be able to take action. Okay, and the very first one is Berg alarms. Okay, so Berg alarms is the only high priority signal that we selected to do this with. We're not touching fire, we're not touching panic, hold up, any of that stuff, even medicals, we're not touching. It's Berg alarms only. And so if you've got customers that are currently getting SMS or email auto notification, they now have the ability to have these action buttons. And what they'll have to do is go to the landing page. So that's the important part, is it's not in the message itself. They've got to click on the link that says click here for more information. That's the landing page. Once they get to the landing page, they're going to see some new buttons on there. So these are some screenshots of a real quick one. This very top one is for a burglar alarm. We're going to verify a false alarm. Okay, so you'll see this is CMS cancel. Right over here is a screenshot of the zone 10 that came in at 9:50 a.m. on the 10th. So that's the alert that we got. We click on the link to go to the landing page. Now this is what we have here. Now remember, we talked about this in the past, several weeks ago when we talked about SMS notifications, where it says Criticom monitoring. This is a test account. That's the alarm company that the test account is underneath. This would actually be your company name, not Criticom monitoring, but it's going to be your company name in that blue banner right there. Below that is going to be the site name, and then the site address and the site account number. Okay, so that's what you're seeing at the top here. And then you're going to see the event and the zone number and the description on there. So all this is still the same. This has been like this since back in 2019 when we rolled out SMS notifications. Even below here where we have recent activity, that's all exactly the same. Service phone number, monitoring center phone number, that's all the same. Nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed are these three buttons right in the middle of the screen. Okay, so you'll see these three buttons. And the very first one that we'll talk about is false alarm. So if you've got a customer, they're at home, they get a text message, they open the front door before they turn the alarm off, the alarm goes off, they get the text message, they know it's a false alarm because it was them that did it. By the way, I know that very well because I do it at my house all the time. If you looked up the event history at my house, you would know that. But you click the false alarm button, the very next page that pops up is passcode PIN verification. Now the user has to put in a valid passcode or PIN on the account, and it has to match identically. Okay, so if it's 2 words with a space in between it, they've got to put the space in there. It's not case sensitive, but they still have to type it in exactly like it is. Okay, so it's got to match 100% or it's not going to accept it. Now, once they put that in there correctly and they've verified it correctly, it's going to log to the event history. Okay, if they did that. So you'll see here on this account, right down here, the recent activity, the email went out, it got the contact, and they verified false alarm. Okay, so a couple things can happen on the bird alarms. Okay, so if they're trying to cancel a false or trying to verify a false alarm, 2 different things can happen. If a monitoring rep hasn't accessed the alarm yet, then what's going to happen is the system, Compass and Mastermind, is going to log SVFAF, and that's going to basically be full clear. So it's a verified false alarm and full clear, and it's going to full clear the alarm without ever dropping to an operator. Okay? We don't think that's going to happen very often, to be quite honest with you, and the reason why is because, you know, bird signals are high priority, so they're dropping to the next available rep all the time. So by the time that a SMS or email contact has gotten to the landing page, verified false, it's probably already dropped to an operator. So we don't think that's going to happen very often where it's going to full clear it without ever dropping to an operator. But there might be some cases there are. You know, let's say there's a hurricane coming to Florida and we're in storm procedure and we're getting hammered. I know hurricanes never hit Florida, but let's say that it happens once and we're really busy with storm procedures. Sometimes, you know, signals get hung up a little bit before they drop to an operator, and this would be a nice time to have this feature in play because it could help the monitoring reps clear up signals. Okay, so again, that's the SVFAF. That's if a monitoring rep has not accessed it. Now, what's going to happen probably 95% of the time, maybe even higher on a bird signal, is a CMS monitoring rep has accessed the alarm, and they're actually actively working the alarm. They're making the phone calls to the premises or the ECV contact or the police department. Okay, if they've accessed it and this person still clicks the false alarm and enters the correct passcode, it logs a different event. As you'll see here, it's SVFAL instead of AF. The AF, F is going to be full clear, L is going to be log. Okay, so it's going to log this event, and then a notification window is going to pop up to one of our monitoring reps, or the monitoring rep that's handling the alarm, let them know that an update's taken place. They're going to see that in the event history. Once they see that in the event history, they will then log the VFA, which is verified false alarm, and they're going to full clear the alarm. If they've already dispatched it and they're working the contact list to notify the contact list of the dispatch, they're going to call the authorities back and attempt to cancel the dispatch, thus hopefully saving a false alarm fine down the road. Okay, so a couple different scenarios on bird alarms. Okay, the very first one, like I said, I don't think is going to happen very often. We don't think it's going to happen very often, but it's there just in case. The other one is going to happen a whole lot more, and has actually already happened. We haven't even really advertised the buttons yet, but even after the 14th, we're having a lot of contacts that are using the buttons, and we're seeing it come through. So it's working very well for us right now. So we like this. So there's your two verify false alarm scenarios. So the next thing we might do is what? Well, let's say that it's a verified alarm, right? The person sees someone breaking in the back door, or they see the broken window or whatever, so they want to dispatch. So same signal comes in at 9:50 a.m. We've got a Zone 10 Berg. Here's the landing page again. We still got the false alarm. We got dispatch police, and we got call monitoring center. Now, we push dispatch police because it's a verified. We go ahead and click yes for the action confirmation. We want to ask them, are you sure you want to dispatch the police on this, instead of just accidentally pushing the button. They click yes. At that point, it's going to log to us to dispatch the alarm or police. Now, it depends on what the event ID is that comes in to whether we dispatch the police department or the guard service or patrol. And again, depending on where you're at in the country, you may have guard service that's responding to Berg signals versus PD, and your event IDs would tell us that. So the operator would obviously see the correct event ID, and then the system would also pick that up based off the event ID, and the correct phone number would then display for the operator to call and dispatch. So PD or PT is exact same thing in our world, or guard service for that matter. PT and guard service are exactly the same. So that's dispatching. So you can dispatch from here. The third button you can see here obviously is Call Monitoring Center. It's exactly the same thing as clicking the button down here. It's just going to take them to the phone part of their mobile and be able to call Monitoring Center. You know, maybe they don't want to verify false alarm. Maybe they don't want to dispatch police. They want to get a little bit more information verbally from one of the monitoring reps. They can do that by clicking the blue Call Monitoring Center and then getting information that way. So we wanted to make that available to them as well. Now, so that's all Berg. And again, like I said earlier, that's the only high priority that we're dealing with right now. Maybe down the road we'll start dealing with fires and medicals and stuff like that, but fires especially are a whole different animal, as you guys all know, you know, especially when you start dealing with NFPA and UL fires and everything else. That's why we wanted to keep our hands clean of those signals right now. So Berg alarm is the only one you can request dispatch of police or the authorities, and the only one you can actually false alarm verify via SMS or email notification. But we do have some action buttons on some other signals. So down here, you're going to see supervisory, environmental, troubles, and timer test with trouble. These have become really prevalent lately over the past few months. We get a good timer test, but the timer test with trouble on the system. And those are sometimes hard to track because they're considered a good timer test, but there is a trouble attached to it. So it's definitely something you want to pay attention to. And this is a good way to do that. So with your supervisory, environmental, troubles, and timer test with trouble, it's a little bit different. You know, the landing page still looks the same, except for you now have only two buttons here. One is acknowledge, and one is Call Monitoring Center. So now you're not going to full clear it or verify false. You're just going to click the acknowledge button, and that's going to send the signal to us to let us know that someone has acknowledged the signal. Okay, so still, just like with the Bergs up at the top, you've got two different scenarios, and those are down here below. So again, if a CMS monitoring rep has not accessed the signal, the system's going to log SNOTF, so notified, and it's going to full clear the signal. It's not going to drop to an operator, okay? So if it's sitting in the buffer for some reason and hasn't dropped to an operator yet, then at that point it's going to log the full SNOTF and full clear it without dropping the operator. We think this is going to happen a lot, and we think it already is. We're watching it happen a lot because a lot of trouble signals have like a 3 or a 5 minute delay on them in order to wait for the restore to come in before it drops to an operator. So you guys may have a lot of accounts that have those signals on there that have a delay built into them, like a 3 or a 5 minute delay, again, waiting for the restore to come in. If the restore comes in, it gets dropped anyway, never gets to an operator. So they're delayed for that. So since there's a 3 or 5 minute delay built into it before it drops to an operator, now you've got a contact person or the homeowner or the business owner or whatever that's getting an SMS or email auto notification immediately as soon as the signal comes in. It's not delaying that event for 3 minutes or 5 minutes. It's going out immediately. So now they've got 3 to 5 minutes to go ahead and acknowledge. They can acknowledge it before whether the restore comes in or not. They're going to acknowledge it and it's going to full clear. So we really think this is going to drop a lot of dealers' OHAs or their operator handled alarms on the low priority signals. We think it's going to drop drastically and help the dealers out and help CMS out, especially the monitoring reps who are making all those phone calls. And we know, we've talked about numbers left and right. People don't answer their phones very often. So we're thinking that this is really going to be big for us with these events coming in and being able to get full cleared without ever dropping to an operator. Now, if by chance, there's a delay, the person doesn't check their SMS notification or their email notification in time, and it has dropped to an operator, and the operator is working it, it's going to log a different event. You'll see the SNOT, now it's L. So just like with Berg, where F is for full clear, L is for log. All it's going to do is log it to the event history. A notification window, again, is going to pop up on the monitoring rep screen They're going to look at that. They're going to see the SNOTL event. Then they're going to log notified and full clear the signal. So not VFA like in Berg where it says verified false alarm. They're going to log notify and then full clear it. Then at that point, they won't make any more phone calls. So if they're working on an account that's got a lot of people on the contact list and they're working down that list, that could still save some time and save some extra phone numbers. So we're excited about the supervisories and environment. Burglaries, obviously we're still excited about that too. But we just really think that the supervisory environmental troubles and timer tested trouble is just going to save a whole lot of people headaches and time and money. So we're really waiting to see that really get in there. We're going to be working on some marketing materials to kind of help you guys out to get that out to the customers. But like I said, we haven't advertised it at all, minus the update on Compass to kind of talk about that. And they're still the customers are already figuring it out. So they're getting to the landing page and they're seeing the buttons and they're knowing what the buttons are without anyone telling them. Okay, so that was the final update that I want to talk about that we're really excited about. We're going to be doing another update, and actually I skipped a little section here, so I apologize. I want to get back to Compass real quick, and I want to show you, we're doing updates usually once a month now. We try to do them on the third Tuesday of every month. This past July, or this month, we did it on the second Tuesday, just because we were ready for it. But it's typically going to be on the third Tuesday of each month. Whenever we do an update, you can always look at the bottom of your Compass screen, and you'll see this link that says What's New. And if you click on What's New, you'll have a little pop-up show, and it'll tell you, the date, the release, the version that we're on. So by the way, we just put 112th version into production. So for any of you guys that may or may not know, we've only had Compass in production for about 3.5 years, and we've already put in 112 versions of it. So we're going to be putting in the 115th version, by the way, later in August, the third Tuesday of August. But you can always click this What's New, and you can see everything that we did, or at least a highlight of everything we did on that update. So on the 14th of July, you'll see that we did the auto notification landing page. So we talked about that. And then any updates that we made are also going to be listed here. And just FYI, you can go all the way back to June of 2018 and find, any kind of updates and new stuff that we've added to Compass. So that's always down there. So you always feel like, again, worst case scenario, on the third or third Wednesday of the month or third Thursday of the month, you can go on here and, whatever we did that third Tuesday is going to be posted there. I post this as soon as we were in production. So make sure you utilize the What's New link right down here, and then you can kind of keep updated what's going on. But again, I think what we're going to start doing with Compass Chat is we're going to spend at least 1 week every month and kind of talk about what's new, what happened on this last update. So plan on towards the end of August, we're probably going to do another week of some new features that came into play on the August update. So that's going to help you out. But again, you've always got the What's New there as well.